Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Janet, and I'm your host of Jamaica's Best Kept Secret. Now, tonight's menu is fried dumpling and escabeche salt fish. Ooh. What makes tonight's meal special? Because I have my dad's recipe of fried dumpling with just a little touch of my own. And my mom recipe of her escabeche style codfish. Now my dad wanted me to wait in at least 24 hours for the bacon powder and the ingredient for the flour to soak. That's what we call it back home, to soak. So he believes that I should have waited longer. His suggestion was a whole day, and I did the dough early this morning at 8 o'clock, and now it's about 6 in the evening, so I think it's long enough. We'll see. Also, what makes tonight special is I'm gonna take you guys back down to memory lane, where I'm coming from. For those of you who are interested, throughout my life I've always had people ask me, tell me something about Jamaica. Well, the only thing I can tell you is I still speak the language, I cook the food, and all my memory stopped at age 8. I left Jamaica at the age, no, my memory is at age 8, and it stopped at the age of 10 when I left Jamaica. So while I'm cutting up the vegetables so that we're not wasting time, I'll be talking about my life, what it was like. As I left Jamaica at the age of 10 years old. My best years that I remember about my home is at the age of 8. Now, what I remember is I came from a area, they call it Waterhouse, right off Olympic Way, on a street called Roden Crescent. Now, Roden Crescent, where we live, was like a tenement yard. That's what they call it back home. And the owner for the yard, her name was Gang Gang. Now, what I remember is that there was a political war getting ready to stir up in, I believe, in 1978. So while living in Tower Hill, I remember going to Seaward College School. Now, during this time, kids were able to go home during lunch break, and then come back to school. Now, what I remember is this: when the boys were getting ready to go back, when they reach a certain age group, they couldn't go back to class, because then we lived on the PNP side, that's People National Party, and then there's the JLP's, the Jamaica Labor Right Party, I think it's called. Well, our school was on the JLP side anyway. Then I remember we couldn't go, the boys couldn't go back to school, so that means my brother couldn't go back because my brother is 2 years older than me. Then the only memory I remember of my brother in Jamaica, and it's sad, is that right before he left to come to the United States, because he came before me, all I remember is Peter. I just remember we were in Gang Gang yard, war was getting ready to break out, and somebody told you to run. I don't know if it was Auntie Rosie or Auntie Bitsy, but you ran. You ran out Gang Gang yard, and that's all I remember of my brother Peter. Now, my mother left Jamaica, and after she left, we were still living in Tower Hill off Roden Crescent. And then my grandmother acquired land in Arborview, in the hillside of Arborview. We were happy. I didn't even realize what life was, that we were going through hardship, because so many people around us was going through the same kind of struggles. So from there, I remember my mom left left Jamaica, and she left us with my auntie Bibsy and auntie Rosie and auntie Joanna and my sister Carla. So from there, no, this is where the fun begins. So my life it was me, Carla, Mikey, auntie Rosie, auntie Bibsy, uncle and auntie Joanne, and Daddy Green. I just remember he went to work on and off, and there was a time where my mom was the only one that was taking care of the family in Jamaica. She was the only one in the family here in the United States, and she was taking care of us, the whole family. Then I remember there was, my grandmother moved from one side of the hill, then we moved to the next side. And my grandfather again built a house, but this time it was 2 rooms. It wasn't a zinc house. It was bigger. We didn't have running water. We didn't have inside plumbing, and we did not have light. We did not have light, but those days were so nice. I remember us going to the riverbed to wash clothes, and as kids just enjoy running in the water, you know, playing in the river while my auntie was washing clothes, and then we were waiting for the water truck to bring drinking water to us. Every morning, Auntie Rosie, while Auntie Bibsy's in town working, Auntie Rosie, I remember she had to stop from school to tend to the kids because nobody was there to watch the kids. And we had to go out. Our responsibility as kids was to fetch firewood so Auntie Rosie can make breakfast for us. And I guess, and then the story goes on. Now, let me get back on track. I was so gone off in my zone. This that I cut up was a whole onion, not even half a bell pepper, 2 habanero pepper, and some pimento seed. And you're going to see what's necessary. But tonight, there's no dry rub, no heavy seasoning, just all natural flavoring from this meal. And your guys gonna love it. Fried dumpling. I have the oil heating in the pot. I would say I used about because I didn't measure it, I completely forgot to measure it. But I would say I used about half a cup of oil. Now this dough has been sitting since 8 o'clock this morning. Now the measurement for fried dumpling, and I swear if you don't follow the measurement precisely, your dumpling either gonna come out with too much baking powder, or it's gonna come out so tough you can fight with it. So you don't want that. One thing that I noticed is every culture has their own kind of biscuit. Every culture. So for us, it's fried dumpling. Now, fried dumpling is it's almost like something that you would eat on the side if you're eating something with stew. We also eat it for breakfast. We eat it as a snack. It's also a poor folks meal because all you need is water, salt, baking powder, some sugar if you want. And with me, I like, you know, I'm on my coconut oil coconut kick. So with that being said, I did use part water, part coconut milk, even though Daddy told me not to use coconut milk because he says that it's going to make the dumpling come out too rich. But I remember when I was cooking at the Patty Express, I did use coconut milk in my dumpling and it still turned out well. So we're going to see how that turns out tonight. But now let's go for measurement. That's very important. One thing that I've noticed since I've been doing this cooking project is, one, it helps me to see, it helps me to realize how I speak as I'm speaking to people. And the soles and the arms got to go. So I'm really enjoying that. There I go again with the sauce. Another thing is I'll have to learn to use measurements because I'm so used to a dash of this and a dash of that, as you always hear me say. So with that being said, with all the different videos that I've filmed, I noticed that the measurement, I have to get my measurements precise, and that's what I'm doing. I have a scale that I'm using. So please make sure when you're measuring, it's very important that you're very exact, especially when it comes to fried dumpling. Now, the fried dumpling, this is a very delicate item to make. Dough has been mixed since 8 o'clock this morning, and that's really good. Even though, Daddy, I'm sorry you wanted me to wait for 24 hours for the dumpling, for the flour to soak, but I want some fried dumpling tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and do the fried dumpling. I hope it does turn out well. Now, the measurement for fried dumpling for me is 1 pound of flour to a level tablespoon of baking powder, salt to your taste, and you can add some sugar to it. Some people put butter in their batter. I don't like to put butter in mine because it makes the dumpling come out tasting kind of greasy. My dad didn't want me to do coconut milk because he said coconut milk makes it come out too rich. So why don't I just do it his way? Well, Daddy, you know I'm hard-headed. I've always been hard-headed. So me use half a can of coconut milk, and the next portion is water. So my dough is a tablespoon, not the tablespoon that you eat with, the original, the official measuring tablespoon. I didn't even realize that in my previous videos I showed the eating tablespoon versus the measuring tablespoon. So I will be redoing that video, just heads up. But let me go ahead now and start making the dough, making the prepare for the dumpling. So again, it's the same way as you would do boiled dumpling, but you cannot make the flour too tight. So I'm just making it loose because it's been sitting down, because it's been sitting down, it looks like it has a. So let me just stir up the flour a little bit more because it's been sitting for 8 hours. Okay, Daddy, I'll follow what you said. Don't make the flour too. It still need to be somewhat sticky. I'm just telling y'all from now, if it don't turn on right, y'all not see this video. I have the oil heating on the fire. I want to say I use like a cup of oil. And that's fine even if it's too much oil, because I can always reuse back the oil. It's not like I'm using trying to follow what Daddy said about not making the flour too tight. Don't add too much water, the right amount of water. Fortunately, he didn't give me the measurement for water. Dumplings are in the fire frying. That little small dumpling, that little small thing that you see over there, look golden, that's me testing the oil before I put in the dumpling. Make sure the oil is hot. As soon as the oil is hot and you're getting ready to put in the dumpling, make sure your fire is on low. Then I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, and I will be back in about 5 minutes to check on my dumplings. My dumpling for me to turn them over. Let me see. Look like them are turn out good. Yes. Thank you, Daddy. Them even feel lighter. Look at that. Yes. Make sure your fire is on more closer to medium low, or else, because you don't want the dumplings to burn. Close back the lid. Look at them. Look how beautiful they're coming out. Oh my gosh. Close back the lid and I will be back in 5 minutes. The dumpling is coming along just right. Look at that. Look at the side of it. Perfect amount of baking powder. That's the secret. So remember, 1 pound of flour to 1 level tablespoon, not the tablespoon that you eat with, but the right original tablespoon measurement of baking powder. I think I kneaded the dough for about 5 minutes. You cannot over knead the dough, as the dumpling won't turn out right either. At least that's what my dad told me. And we're gonna see how it tastes with the coconut milk. I don't remember. I don't recall having any complaints, but let me go ahead and close back the lid. The oil is heated for the saltfish. As you can see, the oil moving a little bit. That kind of let me know that the oil is ready for the saltfish. So let me go ahead and start putting it in. All right, so I'm frying up the saltfish. It's not going to take long to do this. Make sure that when you are getting ready to fry the saltfish, make sure that you strain off the water and just let it sit on a strainer, because the saltfish holds on to the water, and if you put it in the pot while it's wet, the grease can pop up on you. So just to prevent burning, just please remember to make sure that the saltfish is thoroughly dry. Now this is my first batch of fried dumpling. Look at that. I know, right? Especially that one where look like my big thumb went in at the middle light. That's the first one I'm biting in. And here is the second batch that I'm making, and keep it posted. All right, the fish is fried. Here it is. And I'm getting ready to put in the vegetables. The saltfish is fried and I'm sauteing the vegetables. Now I'm not looking for these vegetables to be completely cooked, but what's in the pot is habanero pepper, some pimento seeds, carrots, bell pepper, and onion. Hold on, let me get the vinegar to add to this. This kind of sauteing, you don't want to overcook the vegetable. You still want you still want the vegetables to be kind of crunchy. Some people cook the vegetables. That's not how I see my mom does it. Plus, I like her ways better. Also, I see some people put vinegar in the vegetable, sauteed vegetable. While it's cooking, I turn the stove off. Now that my meal is complete, I had so much of a wonderful time, and I would really like to dedicate this video to my parents. This is the only picture I have of my mom and dad together. So that's me. For those of my friends from Earview that probably remember, this is me. This is my dad in the center, and this is my mom over here. So that's my mom and dad. You see how all of us has that same pretty smile, so you guys figure out who I got my smile from. Anyway, Daddy, the dumpling turned out so good. Turned out so good. So, coconut milk, 1 level tablespoon of what you call it again? Baking powder. Look how much just squeeze the dumpling now. You see what I tell you? Look, you hear the crunch? Not too crunchy. Well, anyway, for those of you, please just give this recipe a try. Remember, there's no dry rub. What you see is what you get. The only thing you didn't get a chance to see is the vinegar, the vegetable. Let me see. Can't show off. Yeah. Can't wait for digging at the saltfish. Don't think me wish it was a little bit more salty. But I'm gonna finish. And your food on me soon the next week.